me heavy, I'm getting ready for battle. And while y'all trapped in the acts of a jackal, passing attack mode, going for the...
Breathe for a second, dude. It's been a just every day around here. It's just a crazy day.
That was good though. It was good to have chaos.
Controlled chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kind of controlled. Yeah. I just don't want the bad, or it's not bad energy, but the chaotic energy to rub off on people who come through, you know? That's what I think about. Holy shit.
That's the liveliness, you know what I mean? I feel like everybody's in like a routine, you know, and like this stability. Then when you add that chaos, that might like promote somebody to go harder for something, or, you know, do something unorthodox.
That's true. I mean, it's kind of like, I guess, low key. I don't know. That's the goal, man. I just said it's not the goal, but it is the goal. To make people more chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you're making me feel good. You're making me feel calm right now. I like this.
Okay. It's the tea.
It's the fucking tea.
One sip, I'm a fucking guru now.
Yoda over
here.
Okay. So I'm going to do a little intro.
Okay. Should I?
Yeah, you got
Should I be this intimate?
Yeah. I like to be super intimate with it. It makes me feel... It's kind of like intimate with yourself because you hear your voice the closer you are. It's like... It's nice and calming. I think it was meant to be, man. It's the mic. We love the mic. Okay. Meditate. What's going on? My name is Cole Connor. I'm an artist and entrepreneur, and today I am here with friend, fellow artist, fellow entrepreneur, family member, one and only, PATx, capital PAT with a lowercase x.
Yes, that's super important. Shout outs to iTunes for finally fixing my fucking name.
I can't believe that they did that, because it's kind of hard to get people to do that.
Right.
To get people like iTunes or like Spotify to do what they're supposed to do. It's fucking annoying. Like for artists like us, when we want to put like, you know, lowercase titles or anything creative, that's just annoying.
And how dumb do you look like correcting people, and then they go on streaming services and it's not even the way that you said it on there. It's just,
yeah.
We here now.
Yeah, there's been like probably 10 times where I have misspelled Pat's name. Because I just, you know, I keep wanting to do it right, and then I try too hard. Then I do a capital P, lowercase ATX, and then I do a lowercase Pat, and then I'm just like, fuck, I don't know what to do. And yeah, I know. So I wanted to bring Pat on as the third guest for several reasons. First, I'm going to create on the spot, as well as the other ones. But first, I'd like to, Pat he's an artist that I am inspired by. And there are not a lot of artists, especially locally, that I'm inspired by. So that is one of the main reasons I wanted to bring him on. Another reason is, this is no diss to anyone, but I want trying to create some sort of outlet with this podcast where I can have like real conversations with people about not only, you know, life and shit like that, but music. I thought about separating it, making it a whole nother thing that's just focused on music, but I think I'm going to keep it the same for now. And I want to kind of like, we've talked about a lot of shit, you know, we've worked together, we've been artists together, we've chilled, we've done vlogs together, we've done all types of shit. But today I want to focus on you, and I want to focus on we don't have to go like deep into your life, but I want to focus on this album that you just dropped. I think it's important, and a lot of times it's missed, is like when artists do interviews, you learn, you know, about the artist's life, and you learn, you know, what they're going through, like that 2.5 hour long Drake interview, where you like, that was really cool, but sometimes I feel like you miss the magic of like what the artist put into an album, because no one really ever dives into it. And being an artist, when I create an album, I am like, there was late nights where I was thinking about this album. That was like notebooks of like, I'm sketching, this is what this means to me. The S means this, the blank means this. It is a real thing, and maybe every artist is not like that, but I think that you are like that. And I know that, I don't know, I just feel like we kind of have that in common. And I think most artists, it's their passion. So like, Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is, will you just tell the people, who you are? And first question would be like, why did you call this album Mesomatic? Mesomatic.
So, and first, I ain't nobody, but yeah, I called it mesomatic for two reasons. One being the actual like definition of it, but also because it's not an actual word. It just comes from like the prefix meso, meaning like intermediate or willing, and then matic, meaning like to do something. And so you think of like automatic, but
wait, are you serious? It's not a word?
Yeah, it's not like an actual word.
Holy shit.
But and so my interpretation, when you put the two together, it just means kind of being like stuck between like the willingness to do something. So a lot of times whenever we want to like do something or we feel like conflicted, you're often like stuck between like a rock and a hard place. So that's kind of what it means to me. And I think the whole album is just really like cerebral, really in your head, and it's supposed to just kind of symbolize or be like a sonic example of what it's like to be like constantly in conflict internally, if that makes sense.
It does. So what are you constantly in conflict with? And I know this can be like a super superficial question, or it could be like a legit deep question. I want to like break it down because I'm sure you go through things that a lot of us go through in your own way. But what are like some conflicts? You're 24 years old.
23.
Shit.
Yeah.
He's 23 years old. You live in Columbia, South Carolina. You've been here for how long?
Going on 5 years.
5 years. So since you're like around 18.
Yeah.
I went to school here, USC. He has his master's in film. Is that correct?
I do.
He has his master's
That
in
was
film.
my tassel flip.
Hey. Which is pretty dope. And he's from Lancaster. Is that how you pronounce that properly?
Yup.
Grew up there 18 years?
I've been in Lancaster since elementary school. I was a military brat, so we moved around a lot. And then like my parents split, so I kind of stayed in the South Carolina area. So yeah, for the most part, yeah.
So with all that being said, right now you are a artist trying to make it. Where is this conflict coming from at 24 years old in Columbia, South Carolina, as an artist trying to make it?
It's just a lot. I think it's a lot of it comes from me starting to develop like self-awareness of myself. And with my upbringing, like being like Southern Baptist, in the Bible Belt and stuff, I didn't really have like a whole lot of opportunities to like express myself or have like independent thought, you know what I mean? And a lot of people are like that, not even just from here, but like the way you grow up, a lot of times like concepts and ideologies are like implemented on you and you just grow up and adopt them and you never question or whatever the case may be. So I didn't like really like know who I was or get to experiment until I was damn near an adult, you know what I mean?
It's insane.
And so a lot of the conflict comes from that and kind of like accepting who you are versus like who you're told you should be. It could be conflict between doing something the practical way versus the impractical way, but the way that you love, you know what I mean, in terms of like career choice. It could be
let's pause on that because this is a lot. So like I have so many questions. So one thing I'm thinking about a lot, I am a little bit older than you. I just turned 27 and I am in conflict personally with kind of like the world. And one thing that you said that kind of sparked something was how you grew up, pretty much like what is put on you.
Right.
And as I get older, I like realize, I tell people all the time that like adults are like big babies, and I'm getting older and I'm realizing like my dad had me when he was like 25 or something like that. So I would have been 2, like if I would, it's just insane. So like these are kids that don't know what they're doing and they're like trying to like teach you how to grow up the best they can, and being in the Bible Belt, it's just a lot. Like it is a lot of pressure to be this certain way. And I guess what I'm saying is like, how has that how do you deal with that conflict of like, I don't really know your whole family dynamic. I know a little bit from what you told me, but like you mentioned the Bible a lot. Your last project was I used to go to church. How has like religion and the Bible, not not only like affected you, but like I assume put like probably guilt at some point on you, and like how do you like combat that? Like, because that's a big conflict, and I have dealt with that conflict.
Yeah, for sure. I think when I was like Christian and raised religious, that in itself was a lot of conflict, because you're essentially taught like, hey, the only good aspects about you don't belong to you. You know what I mean? And so it's like you're always in conflict, because it's like, ooh, the things that I like, the things that I enjoy are seemingly always unpleasing to God. You know what I mean? And so
It's crazy.
Once I like started like doing research and sort of figuring out things for myself, I got more and more comfortable with being in the gray area. And I think that's really what it boils down to. Like, some people need that structure, they need dogma, they need to know like things are black and white. And I was that person for a long time, and now I'm just like very comfortable and okay with like not knowing.
Yes.
And taking concepts from different places and sort of developing my own kind of idea behind it. So
bouncing off of that, this is like slightly, I don't know, I feel like it could be potentially egotistical of me to think this, but sometimes I feel like, so there's that black and white and there's the gray, and maybe this isn't the right way to look at it, but the way to describe it is like almost like you level up a little bit mentally. Do you ever feel like, I feel like a lot of times some Christians, not all, are stuck in like a circle, of being on fire for God and then falling away and then like, you know, fucking up or doing something crazy and then like going in the circle, and they never like break out into like this gray zone. Have you ever thought about it like that? Like, do you see it as leveling up, or do you see it as just like another way of thought, just another?
I just see it as like a bunch of different like you said, circles. We call it like in like media culture, you call it an echo chamber. So like, if I believe this, then I'm gonna condition myself to only recognize things that further promote my ideology. So like, if you're optimistic about life, even though your car broke down, you'll look at the fact that, ooh, you have just enough money to fix it. Good for you. Versus if you're pessimistic, you won't even acknowledge the fact that you have enough money to buy it. You'll dwell on the fact that your car broke down. You know what I mean? So whenever you decide that, hey, I'm all for Jesus, no matter what, you're gonna, you know what I mean? You're gonna do things to like validate that. So like, whenever a miracle happens, you're gonna acknowledge Jesus before you acknowledge that it might be science. You know what I mean? Or somebody else's belief versus people that kind of believe in the same things that you do. Not that it's right or wrong, but we do the same thing. We're musicians, so we're gonna be around musicians.
I love that you said that, because it really is no right or wrong. And I don't know why in my head sometimes I do think about things as like, I feel like sometimes I'm smarter for believing a certain way when it's not really the truth. It's like an interesting perspective. Right. I think there's a real difference is when you start to, which is really funny, is kind of do what I just did and say someone else is stupid for like thinking the way they think, or you like make someone else's life worse. Like, for example, if you're a Christian and you're like screaming at all these non-Christians, or if you're a non-Christian and you're saying all Christians are idiots, that type of thing. That's when I consider it's like a point where it's like negative. You don't want it to be.
Me and Zach, unnamed rapper, we actually had this conversation before the at the art bar.
Okay. Cool.
We had a similar conversation because there was somebody like shouting, essentially, "You're going to hell," you know what I mean, on the street at people.
Oh, when I was there? Yeah.
And so the similar conversation we had is like, if it's been proven that we live on a ball that floats in the middle of eternal everything / nothingness that gets heated by a bigger ball, if that's been proven, who am I to say you're wrong for believing that this like old man is like a clockmaker? You know what I mean? As long as your belief in spaghetti meatballs doesn't impede on my belief that the earth is flat, you know what I mean, or something like that, then I mean, it's cool. Because
if we all thought that way, I think there'd be a lot less conflict in the world. I mean, Jesus, it's insane.
But some people just aren't like, and I don't even think it's like an intelligence thing. Some people just don't think that deep. So like, I think
that's what I wonder. That's why I think it's an intelligence thing, because it's like, how could you not like cross that barrier? I don't understand.
But every brain's different, so whatever they lack in depth and analysis, they might be smarter than you in a different category.
Do you ever feel like some people are just like robots? Like, no, just like for a second. I feel like I talk to people sometimes and it's just like they're not real. And maybe people think of me this way. I don't know. But I feel like when I'm having a conversation with you, I feel like I'm getting real emotion. I'm like feeling your energy. But there's some people that I've talked to in the past and present that I'm just like, you don't seem real. Like there's no levels to you.
Right.
Have you felt that before?
Yeah, but once again, that just kind of like makes me wonder, like, maybe they're having like all that emotion and stuff in their brain and it's just not like transferring well. You know what I mean? Or they might be a robot. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. You never really know. Because even we're having this conversation, but at the same time, I have no idea like what you're thinking. I just hope that we're, you know what I mean, somewhere in the same vicinity.
Yeah,
but
that's a good point. It's really interesting thought. Yeah, I mean, it's a great thought. So back to the conflict. Another conflict I specifically want to talk about was being an artist and feeling like I read most of his lyrics today from the album. I did some skimming because I thought it was going to take like 20 minutes and it took like longer because he says a lot on the album. If you have not checked out the album, please check it out. It's a very good mixture of like just bars and storytelling and saying real shit, which is what I personally like. So saying that to say that I read his lyrics and you can tell there's an obvious conflict and struggle with like making it. There's an obvious like I don't know, like you feel like you're the shit and I connect with this and I feel like and at least lyrically I think you feel like this, you're like one of the best rappers. And I connect with that because I feel like that as well. So, but we haven't made it. Like we're not like making a bunch of money off our shit. And what make it is like relative. But how are you dealing with that conflict in like 2020? How is this happening for you?
I think one, acknowledging that it's not as much about the music as we would want it to be, or you'd like to believe it. That, and like that whole quote about the harder you pursue something, the more it evades you. You know what I mean? So if you believe that the universe kind of conspires in your favor, then maybe you going a little extra hard is counterproductive versus like doing the right thing, taking the steps and just letting it happen. You know what I mean? Which is stressful because like it may not come tomorrow, it may not come for a couple of years, you know what I mean? And so you want to
I
make
remember
it go faster, but sometimes it's not the
move, unfortunately. I remember having a conversation when I was 21 and it was my mentor and he was like, yeah, we'll like put out an album right now, then we'll put out an album in 2 years, and we'll put out an album when you're like 26, and I think that'll be like the time, like that'll be it. And I was like, the fuck? Holy shit, that's 5 years. Are you kidding me? 5 years? And I don't know, it's just crazy the way you think about time. It's always like, even I have to like chill, tell myself now, if it takes 5 more years or 10 more years.
But then if you think about it, like, isn't that what happened essentially?
That's what I'm like, kind of. That's what I'm saying. That's why it's funny. It's like, but like you think, yo, I'm gonna put out an album every year and then it's gonna pop. And I mean, we put out like 3 albums and then I got something in the works now. But it's just nothing like I thought it would be. It's just nothing.
Right, and that's the wild part about it. Like, even you explaining that whole like 5.
Yeah.
That whole 5-year plan like stressed me out.
Yeah.
But even when I dropped Mesomatic, like from the time that I decided, hey, I'm gonna make this album to the time it actually dropped, it's like, holy shit.
Like it took time. Like it was
longer
like than you thought.
Yeah. And it's not even like I worked on it that long per se because it was on and off, but it's like, yo, this took like damn near a year.
That's fucking crazy. Because I'm the same way. Like last year, you would have beginning of last year, I was like, I'm gonna drop a single with a dope ass music video every single month. It's gonna be crazy. Then I'm gonna drop an album, gonna be crazy. And then I'm gonna have another album right after that. And then you catch me now, and I'm like, shit.
Right.
Like, it took me a year and a half to like create 12 songs I like feel decent about. I like feel, but then I have to record it, and it's gonna go back and forth. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And then you just keep getting older, and you're just like, Jesus. And then all of your friends are just like falling off the map, because like as an artist too, it's like I think what's in conflict a lot of times is like you have to make money and you have to survive, and then you start having family, and then everyone else has like big boy jobs or whatever you want to call it, and then you're just like, fuck, like, what do you do? Like,
I'm still trying to rap.
yeah, I'm trying to be a rapper, but I'm like, for real, I'm trying to be a rapper. Like, this is not a joke. I want to be a rapper. I don't know, man. That shit is interesting to me.
For sure, it's wild.
How do you deal with that? Like the aspect of I know you're younger than me, so it's a little different, but it's the same concept. At this point, you're 23, which is kind of like, I mean, some people would say prime time. You might think you're too old. Do you think you're too old, or do you feel like prime time?
Prime time.
Yeah, it's like prime time. Like when I think about timeline, I'm like 18, 19, you're like kind of young. 2021, you're like on the come up. 23 to 25 is like prime time.
Right, that's when you need to like make some shit shake.
Exactly. So like I'm 27, so I'm like, fuck. I'm done. Like this shit's not gonna happen. I really don't feel that way, but you really don't know. So like when you hit this point, it's like, oh shit. But how do you like deal with that from like your friends and family, even though you kind of are in prime time? How do you deal with, like, I know that people have asked you that in the past, like, are you still rapping?
Yeah, it's for me, I don't know, cause like I hear it, yeah, and like I take it in, but it just doesn't like really like resonate per se, cause I've always been the person to kind of like be over here working on shit, you know what I mean, while people are talking or doing whatever, you know, so it's never like, damn, I'm still doing this, or
That's dope.
When people ask me, are you still rapping, yada yada yada, it's like you know what I mean. If you ask me if I'm still rapping, then you're not like who I'm targeting anyway, you know what I mean, because everybody that I'm trying to target, people that whose my stuff has impacted, know that I'm still doing it because they've seen like the progress, you know what I mean.
Or you like, also I just hate when people who know, like, not only do they see the progress, but they also just like know, but they still ask you. I don't know, that shit happens to me all the time. Like, especially with me doing business stuff now, it's just like, oh, you still rapping? Dude, I fucking dropped a song like a month ago. What the fuck? Like, Jesus. I don't understand. I know I've dealt with that a lot from a religious aspect, because I was a Christian rapper for like 2 or 3 years, and then I went like, so I started rapping, and that was weird for everybody, and then I was a Christian rapper, so like actually people liked that a lot, but then I wasn't a Christian anymore. And I wasn't a Christian anymore, and then everyone's like, what the fuck are you doing? And then I rolled with the whole crew that was like all hip hop, and then people were like, yo, now you're like so away from being Christian, and like people went like racist and gangster on me, like, oh, you're just a gangster now, you're hanging out with all these black people, like it's insane. And then now it's just like I'm not doing Christian stuff, but I'm like in the middle, like business and music. So it's like, you know, but it's just always been a conflict, and for me, I don't feel like it ever won't be, because I'm entering this stage where you're older, so you like have to.
And that's all just a process of like figuring yourself out, because like, 2 years ago was totally different versus now. Like I'm wearing masks and screaming, and, you know what I mean. Like,
glad you mentioned that.
It's a huge transition, but it's like,
yeah, it's life.
you figure it out as you go. You know?
So let's talk about that. That's one of the things that I wanted to talk about, was like fashion and style, but also like brand and being on brand. What just made you want to do this out of the box style and fashion and all that type of stuff?
I think it's just a higher tier of like expressionism for me, because it's like, of course we like get in the booth, we get in front of a mic, we like put our heart out there, you rap it, you say the words, and people feel it. But like, if I said I'm hurting and rapped it and used a punchline, you feel that. But if I screamed it You know what I mean? That resonates differently. Just like if a singer hit a falsetto and said something
Yeah, his
versus
different.
a regular melody. You know what I mean?
The
And
screaming, I understand. I mean, I really understand all of it, but like, I get the screaming. Like that shit. Yeah, I feel it.
For sure. So it's just a different medium. You know what I mean? A different way of putting that out there.
Mm-hmm. Same. So you feel the same way with fashion, pretty much.
Yeah, I think so. And so
I guess, what does the mask represent to you?
It could be two different things. Really, for me, is because a lot of times whenever you think of a mask, you think of like concealing something. But it could also be like a barrier, like protection from something. You know what I mean? So if you like rob a bank or something, then you're hiding your identity. But if I have a mask on in public, then I stand out. You know what I mean? So there's two, like,
that's interesting thought.
There's two sides to. So I mean, it's to kind of conceal things. Maybe like I'm having bad vibes, or maybe I want to protect whatever's happening internally. But it's also kind of like a barrier from external influence. Maybe there's some bad vibes, like how you wear a mask whenever you don't want to catch a flu or something like that. You know what I mean?
I like that.
So
I actually never really thought about it like that.
Yeah, it's just a symbolism, really, and of course the fashion thing as well. But
yeah, it looks cool.
All right.
Yeah, but from like an aesthetic standpoint, do you have a hard time like staying on brand? And I kind of want to transition this conversation a little bit to marketing, because you are one of the very few people that I feel like has a grasp, and you've been willing, I know, to dump a lot of dollars into marketing, and that's something that I've done too. And we've done a lot of A/B testing, and you have this brand you're standing on. Has it been hard for you to kind of stay on aesthetic and like switch that brand from like a marketing standpoint? Because you went from, I used to go to church, which it was, I still see the same person on mesomatic, but it's just like a more evolved person. Like, there obviously is a transition that happened. So like from my marketing standpoint, did you find that difficult?
Yes and no, because I didn't necessarily have a brand prior, so it was like I was very much in like, I guess what you would call like the backpack rapper phase, where it's like,
that makes sense.
You're really talented, so you just jump on everything. You know what I mean? Because you just like, you listen to a whole lot of music, you can rap on anything, but it's not necessarily in your best interest to jump on this style of songs if this is your pocket. You know
gotta
what I
figure
mean?
that out. Yeah.
So I love neo soul. I love, like, there's R&B joints, there's this type of joint, that type of joint. You're not gonna hear me on it because that's not my brand. You know what I mean? And so
I'm still figuring that out. That's like it's a hard thing to figure out sometimes.
And so sometimes it's a little bit difficult to stay on brand in that regard, and also because like I'm kind of goofy. You know what I mean? So to be like hardcore and mask and yada yada, sometimes that's a little bit difficult. But it's not like it's not putting on a face, you know what I mean? Because your brand should very much correlate with your values and how you are, period. You know what I mean? So if you're struggling to stay on brand, then that means your brand doesn't like represent you, you know?
That was a big struggle for me, transitioning from like Christian to all that, like, and even like when I went so hip hop and I wanted to be more goofy, or I wanted to be like lovey dovey, like actually I'm not gangster fucking all, like what the fuck, like I know I'm doing like raw hip hop, but like I'm not. That's not how I am. Like I'm a hustler, but no, I'm like cuddling with my baby at night, like, geez, like it's not like that. So this like I think that's a hard dynamic for people. That's why for me I just went to where like I don't really want to be in like a box, which can be like, it can hurt like from a brand standpoint. So
sometimes that's a struggle for me, like, because like technically like I rap on trap beats, you know what I mean, but like I don't engage in street life, you know what I mean. But the instrumentation is very much like that, so it's like people that hit me up for features a lot of times like about that life, you know what I mean. It's like, well, what the fuck am I gonna say on your record, you know?
Yeah, that's interesting. I find it's just I can't really connect with it. That's why I don't even listen to that type of music really. Not that I can't listen to the trap beat, because the beats are always hard, but it's like, I don't know, man. Whenever I used to do that, I just always use my perspective, and people weren't really surprised. But I think it's also because I was white, so
Yeah.
it's like people didn't expect it.
I mean, I
or
listen
whatever.
to it and I get it because like I know people that like come from that. You know what I mean? I've just been fortunate enough to where I was like always on the other side of the street. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Per se. And so like I listen to it, I get it, but it's like very easy to fake that. Not saying that artists
I
that
believe that. Yeah.
do trap music fake that, but I could very easily like do that because it sounds good and because it's pop culture now. So it's very like, I don't know, you just gotta be careful.
You do. Because then also people, or what I'm figuring out now is like this Post Malone age of, I'm finding that my voice can kind of do a lot of that type of stuff. So I'm like, I'm still dabbling. I'm like, do I wanna? Do I not wanna? It's a fine line. It's a super fine line.
You just gotta figure out how to put like your stamp on it. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
That's
Especially if
key.
you like it, because like there's nothing wrong with like liking what's popular or what's in. You know what I mean? Just figure out how you can implement yourself in it.
Exactly. So with that being said, I wanted to transition to something else as well, which is more of what you have your master's in, which
Yup.
is film.
Yup.
You've been doing film much longer than me, but we have connected on that level. I started doing it about 3 years ago, and you've actually taught me a lot about film. We actually did a short film together.
We did.
You asked me to be a part of this film called Chase that you wrote
Yup.
and directed.
Yup.
That was pretty cool. The story of us, pretty much. It's like an
right.
upcoming rapper. Can you like just talk about that for a second, and then what that? I know it was also for school, but I assume. I don't know if you're dropping it soon or you're like, I don't know how we're doing with that.
Yeah, so I've been trying to think about the best way to do that because now we're on like the tail end of the whole like film festival route. And
Which
so
it won 2.
we got nominated for 3 and won 1. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm cool with those numbers. Like,
Yeah, that's
I'm,
pretty
I'm
dope.
pulling out, I'm fine.
Yeah. I think it's fucking awesome.
But yeah, it's an awesome process. It's definitely something I want to dabble more into, the film side of things, and I really like it because it's like, okay, when you want to take a breather from the music, and not drop a song every day or not put out an album, it's old to you because you recorded it over the process of a year, but it's brand new to other people, and you want to drop some shit the next week. You know what I mean? So it's good to like kind of back off of that, and then you can jump on the film stuff if you want to. But yeah, I think it was my thesis work. So instead of, I don't consider myself an academic, even though I went through those avenues. So I didn't do like a 20-page report on whatever. It's like, no, I'm gonna make a film. You know what I mean? And so yeah,
it was a cool experience. I know for me, I had a business during the filming too that is a video business, but I learned so much just from watching y'all because I didn't go to school for it. So like seeing y'all do like legit things and like use legit words, it was really eye-opening. It was really a cool experience. So when that does come out, y'all should check that out. Chase. And I think that for me, I find that like film really accentuates music and they like can work really well together. And I don't know, man. For me, it ended up being like something that I did as a kid that I kind of like lost touch with, or I don't know, I just didn't think about it for a long time. I was like, just music. It was just music for like 7 years. And then all of a sudden I was like, holy shit, like I can do all this shit. I don't know, you start to think about things so much more creative. I think what I'm trying to say is I recommend it if you are somewhat interested in it as an artist, like period. You should consider getting more into it because like your ideas that you'll have are just like
yeah, for sure, and it impacts the music so much, so much. Like I guarantee people are so much more excited for like my visuals when they drop than like the music. You know what I mean? And that really is what like solidifies your brand.
Exactly.
And whenever you're like an artist, like you get more credibility than you deserve. Like everybody says, like, oh, I love blah blah blah's beats. He didn't make those beats. Or blah blah blah's videos are always dope. Like he didn't shoot the video. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. Like so much of it is, you get so much accolade from like all the.
other shit.
There we go. Peripheral things.
There you go, that's
Had
a
a
nicer
brain
word.
fart. Yeah. But yeah, it just plays such a huge role. And whenever you have the opportunity or the skill set to where you can be behind the camera and influence how you look, it just makes that like all the more important because you're invested. It's like, hey, how do you want the world to see you?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You almost get to like play God, you know?
Legit.
'Cause when else do you get to look at yourself? You know what I mean?
And no niche for me was like the main. I was like the one thing in a while where I felt like I had every single, like, you helped me with that shoot, and I don't know, like I was made sure that everything was like how I wanted, and that I had people that I trusted there, and I edited the entire thing,
Right.
and it was just like if I did not like the way my face looked in that one shot, I just on to the next one. And it's just, I don't know, it's just a really cool experience. But then on top of that, like I know me personally, it's inspired me to like take a deeper look into film. It's just like just by itself and like solo. Do you have like dreams of doing stuff like that, like beyond just like music and music videos? I know we did a short film, but like how deep do you want to go with that?
Yeah, for sure. I want to be able to just take the hats on and off. You know what I mean? Like, I would love to, like I said, drop something, do like the whole tour life and blah, 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 blah. Take a year off of that. Do a similar tour life, whatever on the film end of things. You know what I mean? Instead of dropping an album every year, let's drop an album. Let's make a film this year. You know what I mean? Put that film out there. You don't fucking go on tour for films, you know what I mean? You might do the festival route and stuff like that.
Chill.
But while I'm on doing whatever for the film, start recording music again and just bounce.
Childish
back and
Gambino
forth.
style, down on Glover.
Mm-hmm.
I'm inspired by that dude, like hella.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, hella.
Absolutely.
I've even started to think about like comedy, legit. Like the fact that the way comedians, like, God, they're just fucking smart, dude.
Just get in your bag, like even like historical figures in like media or like philosophers, whatever, like whatever you want to attribute them to, they had many titles, you know what I mean? Like when you look at like Alfred Hitchcock or something like that, one person might be like, oh, filmmaker, but he has a whole bunch of titles under that. Or like Donald Glover will have a whole bunch of titles. Will Smith will have a whole bunch of titles. Like Mel Gibson, you know what I mean? Like
it's crazy, but like I feel like people try to like box us in so much. Like, why?
Or like Pacquiao, like Manny Pacquiao does a whole lot of shit. He does music, does film, I believe. He's in politics. Like Pacquiao does mad shit, and like none of them like correlate per se. Or like the director of Mad Max.
I can't remember his name, but I know he's
a fucking doctor.
Holy shit!
Like the dude from Hangover, the Asian guy, he's a doctor.
Is he? That's just insane.
So like, don't limit yourself. Don't feel like your life mission has to be like this one thing. You know what I mean? Because
it doesn't.
Really doesn't.
That's what I've learned a lot over the past like 4 years. Because I had the itch for like entrepreneurship, and then for a while I was like, what does this mean? Does this mean that I can't do music? Does this mean that what? But you just make them work together. Like,
right, because at the end of the day, it's influence. You know what I mean? Like you have skits on your album that are funny, so why not?
Exactly.
Go to open mic night or some shit like that. You know what I mean?
Dude, have you seen Kevin Hart's documentary? Did I talk to you about this?
I haven't seen it yet. The don't fuck this up or something like that.
I really think you should check it out.
I'm gonna watch it.
It's not only like he's got like the crew of people that roll with him and like the opportunities he gives this crew and like just his story. It's just like insane. I connected a lot with like my team that I'm trying to build and like give an opportunity, but like nobody's me. And that's just like, it's like you can't really create you, but once you kind of like understand that, it's like you can build like a better crew and a better team. And I don't know, I think you'd really like it. Y'all should check it out too. It's good. It's good. So I did a little thing. Pretty much I went through your lyrics.
Real quick.
Go for it. No, go for it. I went through your lyrics and I just wanted to read a couple that I liked. I like them all. I like them all, but I liked these particularly. First one.
Don't ask me nothing yet. Hold on. All right, we'll go.
Give a fuck about a hater. That's secret admiration.
What's that from? Give a fuck about a hater. That's a secret.
It's one of the first songs because it's the first thing I wrote down.
Oh yeah, it's an intro.
Okay,
right?
the intro. Yeah. So I think that's called mesomatic.
Mm-hmm.
The intro.
Give enough of a fuck trying to save up some of this.
Yep. How do haters make you feel?
I think it's so funny because like we make like these punchlines and we're always talking about this hater.
Yep.
And a lot of times like that person like doesn't like actually exist.
Yep.
And I think it's so funny.
It is
like,
funny. Yeah.
When I think of like hater, I can't even like. I can think about like some people, but there's no like solitary person that like pops in my head. You know what I mean?
For me, it's like a mixture. It's like there's one person that has like this person's arm and this person's head. It's just like it's all these people.
Yeah.
It's like it's a lot.
I have a couple numbers
I'm a hater
of
though.
people that like
Yeah.
are haters. That I was like, hey, when I get to this point that you said I wouldn't, like I'm gonna remember your number. It's a small list, but ooh.
Yeah, I would say mine's small too, but I just look at whack ass rappers. They bother the fuck out of me. So I think I am a hater, kind of. I'm a little more. I feel like I'm more pessimistic than you a little bit, or a little, maybe not pessimistic, a little more of a hater. I don't know if you are in your head or not, but like people are just, they rub me the wrong way.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it's just like a understanding thing. So
yeah,
it's like we all make assumptions. Like you have to assume in order to survive, but it's like I'm just not pressed about it because it's like one, like clearly you're doing something right in your life. You know what I mean? So it's like, who am I to say like whatever? You know what I mean?
That's a good point. I think I kind of enjoy it sometimes though. It's like, okay, bitch, let's fucking go.
Oh yeah, it's fun sometimes. Sometimes I'll take that hat off and be like trash.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But at the end of the day, it's like
it's also a waste of energy and all
right.
that, mature shit. Anyways.
Sometimes you gotta be that hater role.
Yeah.
Like, you're the main character in your life, but you might be that supporting role in theirs. You know what I mean? You gotta be the villain in somebody's story. You know.
That's a good point. I don't want to be a villain. I think that's why I don't talk to a lot of people.
It's gonna happen. You're gonna be the villain.
I know.
Everybody's the villain in somebody's story.
But I'm trying to be more honest and more raw. So I think I'm gonna be more people's villain. But I don't know. It's part of the reasons why I don't really want to review albums, because I considered doing that to see how that did on like the YouTube channel and stuff. But I don't want to be like a dick. I don't want to be. That's why like I can't have everyone on the podcast. If I don't really fuck with your shit, I don't really want to talk to you. No offense. Does that mean?
No, I mean it's just.
It's not like I can have a conversation with you, but also in person I don't want to waste my time a lot. I'm not saying that they're like a waste of time, but like I have other things.
It's all in the way you like word it too. You just gotta like protect yourself. So if I was like, I don't want you to be on the podcast because to me, important. You're uninteresting, right?
To me, but
can they argue? I'm one person, out of the 7 billion people on this earth that just so happens to find you uninteresting, and I know a couple of other people. But that's still a small sample size out of the 7 billion. Like, that's, you know what I mean? Like, who the fuck am I? I just don't think you're interesting.
With that being said, I will not have you on the podcast. I think I may use that, or I may just not respond. Which one's worse?
Oh,
This is quick intermission.
Which one's worse? Not responding or like being straight up like that?
Yeah.
Because
then that person's gonna hate you versus.
It just depends on if that's the type of person that needs like that closure or not.
That's true.
Yeah.
So it depends on the person, just in case you're wondering. Next one. They want to shoot up the park. I want to exploit the talents I have and make $1 million off of art.
Yep. We so like hoop sessions are huge in Lancaster, like because there's not a whole lot to do, so everybody's like involved in sports, and so there's like a handful of outdoor courts that everybody like hoops at and hits up everybody. It's like, hey, we balling at North. Hey, we balling at Oak Hill. Not Oak Hill. At the Hill. We balling at wherever, AR Rooker, blah, 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 blah. You get there, you do the hoop session, but there's like hoods near like all of those places. And so sometimes like shit goes down. You know what I mean?
Okay, because I took it more shit went down.
Yeah.
Okay, is it play off that?
Yeah, it's like
Okay,
it's like a literal.
I was like, damn, I got that all wrong.
But it was like a lot of like the people I played with were also involved in like street life, just as a result of where they're from. You know what I mean? And so you would hoop with people that are like active gang members or like whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? So sometimes like things happen.
Yeah. Damn. Just so y'all know, I'm reading these slowly, not like in rhythm or anything, and I'm not even doing the rhymes with them because I just think he just says some shit, and I think it's important to just pull out like the shit that he said.
Like that one liner is like the whole song.
Yeah, pretty much. No, but seriously, no, it's like the line. Like to me, they want to shoot at the park. I want to exploit the talents I have and make $1 million off art. Like it is like for me, I'm like, what? It's like what the fuck are y'all thinking? Like I'm trying to like go do this big shit, and you're just like, y'all want to go. Whether it's play basketball or y'all like want to fuck shit up, whatever you're doing, it's like, I don't know, it just means a lot more.
Yeah, it's just like bigger picture thing. Because it's like you feel for them, you get it, but it's like you've never been exposed to something bigger than that. Some people need to be exposed to that. Other people can kind of like envision it, you know what I mean? So it's like, fuck, like y'all want to hoop, y'all want to do this, that, and the third, but it's like I see something bigger, and it's like, how do I convince y'all that, you know what I mean? Part. This is self-destruct.
Okay, so we're back.
And we back.
So next one. This one I really fuck with because it happened to me as well. Mom cleaning offices, and I can't get with that. That, I really like that. My mom actually cleaned houses for people when I was like 18, 19. She was serving, and I don't know, just it's one of those things. It's like I want to do anything I can so that my mom does not have to do that anymore.
For sure.
Ever again.
My mom, like, based on work ethic, is a millionaire. You know what I mean? Like, she works, like, and to this day, she's been doing that for, like, a couple of years. Like, she literally has a county job. Or she, like, been there for over 15 years. Leaves at 9 to 5 and cleans. You know what I mean? And she's just now getting to the point where she's, like, starting to, like, vacation more. Like, she still works hard, but is starting to, like, treat herself more, which I like, which kind of, I feel like gives me, like, a little bit of a cushion to, like, get things cracking. But, yeah, like, that just, like, hurts to know, like, your mom is, like, slaving like that.
It's not good.
And not, like, getting ahead. You know what I mean?
That is God, we really could talk for a long time. Because I know we've already had some conversations about stuff like that. So I'll have to have you on again to like really dive into some of that stuff if you're comfortable. But it's like there's a whole world of like familial things that we could get into. But yeah, so the mom line, it's like that hits me in the gut. And bouncing off of that, I thought this one was kind of funny. I never fold like my mom's still washing my clothes. That was like a creative little line there. But I actually still hate folding clothes. Yeah, it doesn't really happen. Ask Jacqueline. Next one. I changed the lyrics a little bit.
Okay.
So that I don't get in trouble. One made brother and a group of chained brothers really look the same. One made brother and a group of chained brothers really look the same, just a maid with some slave brothers. What does that mean to you? That is a powerful sentence there.
Yeah, that's that whole song is just about like, and I think I even say like somewhere on the line, like it's not necessarily about like racism still like happens obviously, but now it's more like classism. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we talked about that the other
We've
day.
gotten to the point where like socioeconomic status and race unfortunately kind of go hand in hand. And so it's like, okay, this person makes a bit of a come up, but you're not like as upper echelon as you think you are. You're still in this lower pocket. You're a slave, brother. Or you're a maid amongst slaves. So there is like a little bit of hierarchy, but it only exists within that small pocket. You know what I mean? So to somebody that's way up here, you're still in this bubble but to you it's like, I'm not a slave, I'm a maid. So there's not like a huge discrepancy
really
in that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a really interesting thought. I actually didn't really think about it like that either. Damn, that's a whole nother road to go down. I agree with you 100% though about the socioeconomic thing, and not to say there is not racism, but the classism thing is real. And I don't like to talk about racism, and it's not because I want to avoid it or anything, but I just believe that it's a lot of classism, and I believe that there is obviously tons of racism. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that the classism right now is what's most apparent in my life that I see right now, and that is because of where I'm at and what I do, etc. But that is and I feel like I feel like people understand the racism thing. I know I just said that like it does not mean anything. I feel like shit for saying like that. The people understand the concept of racism and that it happened and that it is happening, but I feel like the classism thing is a different thing that people aren't talking about.
I just watched an interview before I came in here that was just talking about like, hey, there's a class of people that are designed to work and raise money for the people that can't work, and that's the working class. And you just distract the fuck out of them so that they don't realize that that's their sole purpose in society. You know what I mean? And so when it comes down to like racism and stuff, when does somebody up here that looks more like Cole even gonna interact with somebody that's down here that looks like me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have to be on the same social class for racism to even, you know what I mean? And obviously, like it doesn't always happen that way. But a 1%er isn't gonna call me the N-word as a lower middle class individual. You know what I mean? I would have to become a 1%er, try to do a business transaction with that white 1%er, and then not succeed in it because of something as arbitrary as the color of my skin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so a lot of the racism that we do encounter happens within that similar class system. So if somebody's racist towards me, it's because they're also middle class or in the same social standpoint as I am and feel like threatened by it.
It's interesting. Yeah. So I also didn't think about it from the sense of classism or of racism happening within the separate classes. I want to get, I hope in the near future we get to a point where it's just, it sounds really bad, but it's like right now there's two things on the table. There's racism and there's classism. Like, can we remove one and then focus on getting rid of the classism? That would be nice.
That would be
it just
nice.
If I feel like our generation, and you got the Gen Z, I don't know who's before that. Ashton Teller.
Them folk.
I feel like majority understand how to treat each other equally when it comes to race. Do you agree with that?
I think so, and I think that comes as a result of like all these distractions now, because it's like, okay, maybe in like the early 1900s, like wasn't a whole lot of shit to do, so you can focus on the fact that this, that, and the third. But now, like, we have so many different things going on. It's like, yo, we don't care that you don't like black people. Or we don't care that you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know. And a lot of things are like super, like very superficial now. You know what I mean? So it's like, all right, the Kardashians are at the top of Apple News right now, and then 10 articles below that is this atrocious racist act against Asian people. You know what I mean? Versus, I feel like 50 years ago that would have been the top of the whatever. So it's not even,
it's all about Kim K.
I don't know, it's just like desensitized now. So it still happens, it's still an issue, but it's like, you know, we're tired of hearing that story because it's like same old. You know what I mean?
What do you think? And I don't want to go too off in this deep hole of conversation that this could be, but what do you think today is the root of the issue with that? That's like a very large question.
Yeah, I think.
But today, so not like 30 years ago, not 10 years ago, today.
I think now it's just, see, that's a loaded question. I think, for one, we got to start individualizing it, you know what I mean? And so it's not like, boom, let's fix racism. It's like, no, you, sir, put less French fries on black people's plate than white people. Fix yourself. Hey, you treat Mexicans poorly. Fix yourself. Hey, stop being homophobic. Your roommate fucks guys. Get over it. You know what I mean? Like, and then consensually, well, in terms of like a census, then that'll help the issue. You're trying to tackle something huge. You're trying to chip at a huge boulder when everybody could do their part. You know what I mean? Individually, and just make it better. You know what I mean?
It's so hard. I don't know. Do you have anyone in your family, older probably, that is racist towards any other race?
Yeah.
What's the race?
Just prejudice. So like,
so you wouldn't consider
people
it
that
racism?
are like my grandparents' age, they might say some like slick shit about like Mexicans.
There you go.
Or like gay people. Or even like white people, because they just come from a point in time where like a lot of white people probably did wrong by them. Similar to why, you know, some white people might not, older white people might not fuck with black people, because you know what I mean? So if your racism comes from like individual experience, then it needs to be fixed on an individual level. You know what I mean? That person doesn't fuck with black guys because every time he walked home from school, a group of black kids would beat him up. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah, I talked to you about that. I don't know if you pulled from that, but yeah.
I mean, that's
kind of
the case.
That's
the case a lot of times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, how am I gonna fix the fact that you don't like black people? You know what I mean? But yeah, in terms of the line, we were just talking about how there's not a huge distinction between a maid per se and like a slave. So as an analogy, it's like, okay, you're a poor person, you make a come up, you cop a chain, you know what I mean, cop some nice shoes, a fit or something like that, but you're still broke. You know what I mean? Like, you do something, you think that you're making a come up, and you're just not seeing the big picture.
I feel that line, bro. So I was trying to go through some of these other lines. Don't fucking read
Honestly,
them.
I can't even see it.
This one right here. And this is just more like a comment that I fuck with because I agree with you. I can't apologize for being unavailable. I'm working hard. Do you find it often that people like, yo, like, where are you? Like, I don't know how many people you hang out with. I don't know if you're just like working all the time. I don't know. I really don't know. I just know that I don't hang out with a lot of people and I work all the time.
Yeah.
So do you find that people are like, yo, where the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Like friends, probably from back home, I imagine.
Not even. I just like, I'm very like recluse anyway. So I know that line definitely like resonates with you, because like even I've wondered that sometimes. I'm like, why does Cole never come to fucking show?
Yeah,
like I get
yeah.
it, but like, you know what I mean. You still like present that question.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it's like it might be like an emotionally unavailable, or like maybe we just don't like think on like the same frequency. You know what I mean? So like I can't like sit and chill with y'all today, knowing that we're not like where we want to be. You know what I mean? So
that's
like,
so hard for me.
when I do like chill and like, you know what I mean, do like leisure type things, like there's always like a small sense of guilt. It's like, hey, why the fuck are you like chilling right now? You know what I mean?
That was such like a big thing for me and Jacqueline in the beginning of our relationship, because she was a person that like, that's all she did pretty much, was just like, you know, be present in life. And one big thing we had a conversation about that, it was almost like a relationship threatening conversation. Like, I need you to be here, like be present. And I feel like you're similar to me, but maybe not, but I feel like you are, where it's like, I just am thinking about like my future, and I'm thinking about how I'm going to get there, and I can't stop thinking about it. And I don't want to, like, if you want to go to like dance, I'm going to have to be, I need to prep for this. Like, I need days. I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to go like be here. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here. And then maybe I can let loose. Maybe after some shots, or like whatever, like whatever it takes.
Or I'm very like on the fly in terms of like plans and stuff, but very rarely am I like fully like present. You know what I mean? I'm always like off thinking about something. So we could be having a conversation, we could physically be like close to each other, but I'm like
right now.
Yeah, I'm in another. You know what I mean?
You create your own world. Like right now in my head, we're floating in the sky of clouds, and there's like beautiful fairy women just flying around serving us tea.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, doesn't it kind of feel like that though, with the light shining down? It's just
Yeah, it's
like,
almost ethereal.
yeah, it's kind of cool. Anyways, yeah. So 2 other lines I'm going to mention. Actually, I'm going to say this one really quick just because I fuck with it. Just because you post on your Snapchat with a link to your track don't mean that you snap, though. I fucking hate it. And I'm going to say this out loud for everyone who ever does it. It's no offense to you. Don't fucking send me a link to your shit and don't say anything. What the fuck?
That's like, so funny because I'm not going to say I'm that person. I'm kind of that person. But it's just like, it's different because it's like, okay, I do that, but I'm also like marketing and like promoting. I just want y'all to know like I'm still like up to shit. You know what I mean? But some of y'all just like send a link, don't even like know me. You know what I mean? Everybody I send a link to, they have a check emoji by their name because they've told me, hey, I want to have updates and stuff on the moves. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. But some of y'all just like spam. Send a link, don't ask for no like call to action or nothing. And you think that song is fire too. It'd be different if that was a good track, you know what I mean? But y'all are like pushing doo-doo.
Yeah.
Doo-doo.
Seriously. Like, I don't even push the button anymore. I hate that shit. I
always listen to it because I just need to like reaffirm.
That's good for you, dude.
Because sometimes
that's
in the blue moon. You hit the lotto.
I mean, that's
all right.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of my fears is that I'm so like pessimistic that I miss opportunities and things like that. So it's always good to have kind of like, maybe I'll just push the button and see.
Always hit the link. I don't have like any expectation like going in, but yeah.
So I was reading this other line. I think I just want to say that I don't even want to talk about this line. I just want to say, I'm not going to rap it, but I'm going to say it because I just fucking love this line. I already told you this. This is my favorite line from the album, not on a meaning standpoint, but just flow. Ichabod, ripping all they temples off, sick of all these fucking frauds, spitting with a simple jaw. I love that.
Sick of all these fickle frauds, spitting with a simple jaw.
It's fucking dope. I like that. All the rhymes there. It's like a quadruple rhyme, like 5 times. It's dope.
We do this.
2 more things, and then I want to talk about one main concept that I feel like kind of wraps up the album for me. 2 more lines. First one is this was like super intellectual of you.
I do that sometimes.
Life is a clit. So I stroke till my dick's sore. So if your mom read that line, what would you say to her?
That's funny because I think I acknowledged my mom in that same song. But
I think you did too.
It's funny. She was at the show and like I rapped that part like acapella and like accidentally made eye contact because I just said the line about the washing clothes. But yeah,
wrong line. Didn't mean to look at you there.
But yeah, I mean like everybody's heard the analogy like life's a bitch, and I was like, clit kind of rhymes with bitch, so I'm gonna say that. I was gonna say life's a bitch, so I stroked to my dick sore, but I don't really like using like the word bitch to refer to like a woman. I always try to like, I don't know.
That's good of you.
I can call things a bitch though. Like, that bitch hard, or that thing's like a bitch to do or something like that. You know? But,
no, that's good that you feel that way. I feel sometimes I'm talking to Jacqueline, we're just like talking back and forth, and I'm like, bitch, what? And I say stuff like that, and then I'm like, I shouldn't say that. It's not okay. Yeah. So this one last thing is I'm kind of worried about you. I feel like you said a couple lines on here, and you mentioned drowning babies.
Yep, that's hostage.
You mentioned literally asking someone to babysitting their kids, drowning them, pretending like you didn't drown them, and I think you stopped there.
That's a metaphor. It's not.
Oh, it's not real. It is a metaphor. I don't know, man. I don't know. That was some Eminem shit. Bro.
Yeah, I was gonna say like dude, it's a lot of that's like, and I think in the line, like I said, like back to like some shady shit, and that's why I said that. But Yeah, Eminem was like a huge influence on me because I didn't even like listen to rap music. Then the only like rap I was like allowed to listen to was like on the radio, like if I was good, you know what I mean? And so Eminem's "When I'm Gone" and "Mockingbird" was on the radio like heavy, and so I would memorize those songs and blah 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 blah. And then I was like, hey, I'm gonna look up some more Eminem songs.
Oh
Kim,
no.
Buffalo Bill, Music Box, and I was like, my darling. I was just like, yo,
I love it. Yeah.
Middle school me was like, what the fuck,
dude? Eminem is fucking crazy, but
11 years old. Eminem just snatched my innocence.
Yeah, he'll fucking do that, won't he? Sometimes I listen to him and I just feel like so heavy I have to cut it off. It's like just a lot of like anger in those.
Yeah, Kim was like, I was like, holy shit, this man.
Is that where he's like, damn? Did he scream?
Yeah, that's when he like murders her like literally on wax.
Shit is crazy, dude. That I think that is the. I don't know. Is it the one where he's literally just like,
Oh yeah. It's
that
like,
shit, you can feel that.
He like
shit.
grabs her like out of the woods and shit,
Yeah.
and then like it was like daughters with them, and like
That's why I fuck with your screamo shit too. Like when I listened to that song with my mom, she loved Eminem too, and we both like the first time we heard that song, I like looked at her and she was like, "That's crazy." Like we wanted to cry. Like that's how like
yeah,
you
it was
feel
intense.
that scream emotion. Like you really feel
It's
it.
so intense.
And so, last line I want to say is "Fire in My Brain."
Yep.
I feel like that represents kind of the album a lot to me.
Yeah.
And that's like the conflict, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean to you? Is it the conflict? Is it the like struggle?
Yeah, it's just like stimulus overload sometimes. You just think a lot, you know what I mean? And it might be like the life like conflict, but a lot of times just like you just think about shit like so much, you know what I mean? Just like random stuff, and sometimes you just want to like shut off.
Yeah.
You just
It
feel
happened
like
to me
your
yesterday.
brain is on fire.
It fucking sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do anything. So I resort to food when that happens. Do you do that? No. Sure. Like there's lots of ways to reset. Like people, you jack off, or you like take a shower, or you take a nap, or whatever.
I think it's napping for me is very effective. Food, then I start thinking about like health.
No, that's what I do too. And I get sad and I hate
like,
myself. Cool, you fucking suck. Yeah, but yeah, the fire in the brain. I don't know. I like those three words together. I like that it.
Oh, it's a chew toy.
Yeah, it's a chew toy.
I thought she was screaming.
Yeah, it's scary. I don't know. That's a good combination of words. It's a good. When you say that, I just feel like I connect with the fire in the brain. It's just really interesting. So my last question for you, final one, drum roll, and I may include it in the podcast, I may not, because I want to use it for something I'm doing before I go, which is soon. So I need to get on it. So the question is, how is it? How is it being an artist in Columbia, South Carolina? You responded to my question on Instagram and you said tantalizing. Did not know what that meant, so I Googled it.
Yeah. And
one of the words was tormenting, teasing.
Yeah, I had to Google it too just to make sure.
Yeah.
But yeah,
respect.
It's almost like I guess if I can make like tantalizing an analogy. It's whenever like you've seen like the old cartoons where it's like a dog and he has like the little bone like in front of him, but he's never like gonna reach it per se. I think that's what it feels like to be an artist here. It's like
I connect with that a lot.
That bone being the possibility of like shit going well, or maybe examples of shit going well elsewhere in other like locations. And you trying to mimic that and then not working.
Dude.
Or getting like a piece of it. You know what I mean? You might like lick the bone. But you don't actually like grab it.
Or it's like a treat. Or it's like someone like tosses you a treat. Like, no, I'll get you the bone, but I want to toss you a treat first.
Right.
Dude, that makes so much sense. This has been the city that I've been able to grow a successful business in, which is amazing. I'm able to meet lots of friends. I've performed in front of thousands of people. I've done like tons of shows. I've met millionaires. I've met owners of big venues. I've almost gotten huge features. I've met celebrities, but nothing happened.
Yeah, and that's the wild part about it, because it's like I'll never shit on Columbia because I've done shows in Columbia. Like Columbia's like giving me opportunities that I didn't have in Lancaster or whatever.
Yep.
But yeah, like you said, like you do it, and that's it. You did it.
Yeah, and it's like I don't want to diss Columbia either, because like it's given me a lot, and I've kind of watched you flourish here, and it's nice. But it does just feel like, I don't know, there's just some disconnect, or you just don't get the full bone.
I think especially in the beginning, it's nice because it's like you perform at this venue.
Oh, yeah.
And then somebody from the other venue up the street is like, hey, we have so-and-so, or like that artist that you just met has another bill, but then you're here for a while, and it's like, it's just cyclical now, you know what I mean? And it's not exciting.
That's exactly. As an artist, you want to do different shit. You want to see different people. You want to, like, this is not like my weekly show. I don't want to go do a weekly show at the same place to see the same people. As like, when you like are someone who aspires for big dreams, I think it doesn't really cut it.
And it's all on you here. You know what I mean? You're your publicist.
Everything.
You put up the bread to book
That's
the
a
venue.
huge
You
thing.
reach out to the venue. You sell the tickets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's no resources.
Right. You
here.
literally just have the space.
Yep. And I think that's what I found out pretty early is like there are no resources, so you have to do it all yourself. And unfortunately, it takes a lot longer to do it all by yourself, which is why I'm 27 and still like grinding my fucking ass off so I can like make shit happen. And it's partly why I'm leaving, because there's more resources and there's more things and there's more people and there's more content to create and there's more to learn.
Right. And nobody's like drawing. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you're the artist, you're on the come up, so your draw is not like that. The venue's draw is not like that. You know what I mean? So it's like, all right, if anything, like the venue's just making a come up because you paid the whatever, or you might be making a come up because the venue's looking out for you and doesn't charge you because they know like the struggle of it. Yeah, it's just, I don't know.
So it's I'm not saying you have to get out, but I know that's how I feel. But I hope one day somebody, maybe it'll be me, maybe it'll be you, will bring it back and make it where like somebody else can like actually pop here. I don't know. It's just an interesting thought. We're gonna leave on that note. My name is Cole Connor.
Such a sad note.
Yeah. Wait, do you want to leave on a positive note?
Ideally, yeah.
Okay.
It's like being an artist here sucks.
No, that's
Cole
not what I'm
Connor,
saying.
I'm PATx.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying
Fades
it sucks.
to black. Please subscribe.
Okay, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we are all paving the way for each other. There's been work done before us for the past 30 years. People have been trying to figure shit out, and we've only been able to do things because of the people before us. And I think it'll continue to be like that. And I think that this generation, whatever I am, whatever you are, is going to make some shit pop. I believe it.
I still feel sad, Cole.
Shit.
I mean,
Okay. I have an apple. I have another apple. Shit. Here's the bottom line. Pat's album is dope. It's called Mesomatic. You should go buy the album.
Should.
I don't know how many views this is going to get, but if there's 80 views, if there's 100 views, every single view should spend $10. $10? $9.99?
Yeah.
And get his album. That would give him $1,000. No, probably wouldn't. It would actually give him like $800. $900? $700? Shit. It'll give him $100. If 1,000
give me
people,
something once iTunes and Spotify snatches it, then
yes, and then he can use that money to market his music to people in the state and beyond, because he has an eye for marketing, which we really didn't talk about a lot, unfortunately. But we'll talk about that maybe another time.
You just give me $10, and then
Let him do it.
I'll let other people that aren't y'all buy it. Yeah.
That's positive, no?
Yeah, that's a positive note.
Oh, also, dude can draw. Did you draw this?
I did.
He has merch, Mesomatic merch.
Yeah, there you go. Buy the merch.
Buy the-
stream the
Yeah,
album
stream that
for
and buy the
free.
mer- yep,
Just
that's
stream it thousands of times so that I make more than a penny.
Yes.
But this you can cop because I think it's fresh, and I think you would be fresh if you wore it.
This helps an artist that is how like artists survive, and it shows also. But merch game strong, and he's super creative with his merch. He literally draws the stuff. He grinds his ass off to make the shit happen. He's also got really creative other stuff. I don't know if you still have them in stock. Like jean jackets or something.
Yeah, please buy those from me. I'm tired of seeing them.
He draws on them and like does all types of cool shit. No, I can't even describe it, but I just know they're cool looking.
Thank you.
And if you like his swag, you will like these. So check this out. We're gonna end on that note.
There we go.
Mask on.
Oh yeah. Damn it.
Shit. All right. Peace.
Deuces.
Cool. That might be the thumbnail. Ah, man. I don't know how long that was. It was pretty long. Were you starting to get drained by that?